Today we have a special guest with us, a medical doctor, healthcare leader, advisor on healthcare and technology, innovative speaker on AI and healthcare at international forums, supervisory board member of UNICEF Netherlands, speaker of 7 TED Talks, and author of book Chill on stress and productivity. She attended World Economic Forum's Davos Summit as a shaper, and she was the curator of Amsterdam Hub from Netherlands. And currently, she is a member of Impact Council of Global Shapers Community. Welcome, Nupur, to Coffee with Leaders, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with the community members today.
Thank you for inviting me today. And it's always a bit strange to hear so much about yourself. But yes, those are things I did.
As our today's session's name suggests, it is like Coffee with Leaders. So my first question is, what is your definition of leadership?
I think my definition of a leader is who is able to adapt in difficult times and also inspire the people that they're leading to follow a certain direction. So I'm not saying push them to follow a certain direction, but to inspire them. Often people themselves, for example, when you look at a country or a company, they don't realize they themselves can be the change. And leaders put the people that they're leading in their own power to either change things or to improve themselves, or maybe to grow a company if you're the leader of a company. So I very much look at a leader in that sense. And that's also what I've been learning from other leaders over the years.
So every shaper in Global Shapers community have different stories from starting as a joining as a global shaper. So when did you join Global Shapers community? Please share your journey from joining as a global shaper to the curator of the hub.
Yes, of course. So I joined in 2018, which is already quite a while back. And at that time, I was actually approached by the hub. So we have at that time, there were two different ways of recruiting people. They would either just send out like a message or poster on social media that, hey, apply. But they also would proactively approach people of whom they thought, hey, they might be a nice addition to the hub. So I was approached, and what I really liked about Global Shapers, even before I had joined, is indeed the diversity of people. But my true reason to join Global Shapers was to not only focus on my own field, which is healthcare, but there are so many people with all other types of knowledge. And I think that's the pool you want to be tapping from when you're part of Global Shapers. I think I benefited the most from that I learned so much from other fields that I could not only apply to my own field, but also in my life in general. So that was great. I did two different types of projects before I started more of a leadership journey between Global Shapers. One project I did within the Amsterdam hub was to get more young people to vote in the European elections. The number of young people voting when European Parliament elections are going on is not so big. So that was a very important topic to me. It had nothing to do with healthcare. The second project I did was during COVID times. So it was called Humans of COVID, where we would help tell the stories of people during the pandemic, as well as help entrepreneurs in that time to get funding or other sorts of help. And before I was a curator, I was a vice curator. So my journey actually was, I was leading a project, then I became a vice curator, and then I became a curator. So it sounds like a pretty standard path with which a lot of shapers do. But I think it was the right path, and it has been Shapers has changed my life in a sense, which I'm very happy for.
Yeah, great. It happens with every shaper. So, Nupur, you are the member of Impact Council. So, we know it is a important part of our governance body. So, how important is the role of Impact Council in our community, and how shapers can take maximum benefit from it?
Yes, thank you for this question because often, sometimes we are not very visible, but we're doing a lot of things on the background. So to clarify again, you have two types of advisory councils. You have the governance council, in which there are advisory council members who look at governance within Global Shapers. I am part of an advisory council called the Impact Council. So as the Impact Council, you look at what kind of impact are hubs all over the world making, both separately and in its whole, and how can we actually help those hubs to improve making an impact? And the Impact Council specifically is connected to the impact officers, also to help them out. So a few of the things that we do is we look after what kind of cross-hub collaborations are there happening, and how can we help those hubs that want to make that happen? Are they ready for it? Another one is that we make the curriculum for the impact officers. So the monthly sessions that are being organized, we make them together with Karen. Karen is from the WEF, actually leading or heading or connected to the Impact Council. And another one is also that we can help hubs to look at, hey, how can you grow your impact? Or also give them knowledge about the framework for impact that the Global Shapers community has. Those are just a few of the things that we do, which you can reach out to us for a lot of things. And we're all quite experienced members, so in many ways, if you need any inspiration also, feel free to do.
So, my next question is about your author journey. So, you are the author of a book called Chill. So, in today's world, stress has become an integral part of life, especially among the young generation and young people. And we are the community of young leaders. So, please share something about how to manage stress and productivity.
Yeah, it's very nice that you asked this question. So not many people know I wrote a book. And it resulted from a period in my own life. So as you all know, I'm a medical doctor. Healthcare workers often go through a lot of mentally tough times. We come across sometimes very challenging things. We're in challenging situations, long working hours. It's a different type of stress that we come across, and resulting from an equally tough period in my life, in my medical doctor journey. At some point, I decided I should write down not only what I experienced, but also I started researching the topic of stress and productivity. I also compared different professions with each other, and I compiled that in a book to also share the knowledge that I have. Why is that so important these days? I think we all during the pandemic have seen what isolation can do with us. Sometimes you can feel isolated because you are really isolated, literally, within your own room. But sometimes you can be in a crowd of people or among people, and also feel isolated within your own mind. And that's a different type of isolation that we cannot always see or recognize, because you would think, oh, this person is among many other people, has a smile on his or her face. They should be so happy. And I believe especially when people look up to people like us, shapers who in their eyes might have everything, are privileged, they sometimes can think, why would such a people be unhappy or go through stress or not be grateful with what they have? And that is what I believe is very important to address. that even for young leaders such as us who have a lot of things, are looked at as privileged, are humans as well. We have the same type of mental problems. We can have feelings of depression, anxiety, stress, and it's so important to talk about that. And luckily, around Global Shapers, there are so many projects being set up around mental health that each extra person who works on it or talks about it, I think, is only for the benefit of everyone. And that's a bit how my journey has been. And until today, I love sharing my knowledge about health, not only mental health, but last few years, women's health specifically has been an important topic. Just to quickly finish the answer to this question, why is that so? During the pandemic, the health between men and women, the gap has grown. So now that is especially one topic I also want to and need to pay more attention to.
So my next question is about same as impact. As a global shaper, we work in 5 different impact areas, and you are the expert of improve health and well-being section, especially. So health is a vast field; it's not a very small field. So which are the top 3 important key areas in health where shapers should work for the better future?
Yeah. Also good question. So I would want to frame it a bit different. I would want Shaper Hubs, not me to tell you what are your problems, but go within your communities. Because in every region, every city, there are specific topics that you can detect, which might be healthcare problems. So we were talking a bit about it before the session was starting. In Canada and Europe, it might be aging. In some other parts of the world, it might be menstruation poverty or period poverty, as we call it. There might be some regions where domestic violence is a bigger topic. However, when we look at obesity or heart health, in some parts of the world, that might not be a big problem. In some parts of the world, it might be. So my greatest advice would be to go talk to people or research what is happening within your own city that needs attention. And when you do that, to work together with your municipality, government, or any healthcare institutions that are around you that can help you to have that impact. That's, I think, my greatest advice, because if I now say 3 topics, it will be different if you go to another region, and that would not be the right thing to do, I believe.
Thank you. So we are going towards our last question. So Nupur, you worked a lot on positive growth mindset, stress management, health and technology. With all these experiences, do you want to say something to the shapers across the world for better future and the better world? As your from your experiences, your advice for the in general, it's not specific to the shapers, but all the youth.
Yes, I think I would. Sometimes we can really overthink certain decisions when certain opportunities come. So my advice would be, don't be afraid to seek certain opportunities. Don't be shy to grab those opportunities. And don't overthink when a certain nice decision comes. What sometimes young people do is they will start thinking, am I good enough for this? Am I able to do this? And it has been a journey for me as well. But at some point I thought, you know what, even if I'm not ready, let me just go do it, and I will see if it will work out. And what most people don't know is I get more no than a yes. Most of the people around the world only see the parts of my life that got a yes or that were a success. I do a lot of trial and error in my life. It's one big trial and error, basically. And I think that might be my biggest advice to people around the world, that failure is a part of life, and it's actually really fun to do trial and error once you get used to the process. So yeah, don't be afraid to do that. Those are the moments that you learn. And though it might not always feel when you get a no or you fail, but that actually truly leads you to success. Why? Because of the reflection that you do in between. That's one thing that I always do. I pay a lot of attention to reflection. What process did I went through, especially when I got a no or I fail? What exactly did I do that can have improvement next time? When I have successes, I celebrate maybe short. I recognize that, but I pay a lot more attention to the parts when it didn't go right. So that would be my other advice to young people. Don't underestimate personal reflection for yourself, especially when it comes to your success or to your productivity. And then just be happy with what happens. It's not always easy. Um, but do that. Oh, and maybe one last thing. I remember one last thing. Don't think the grass is greener on the other side, because that's also sometimes what I heard in Shapers. I'm in my hub and all the people around me, I see they're doing so well, award this, a fantastic life that. No. Come on, you're your own person. Look at yourself, and enjoy things that you are really good at. I think that would also be my advice within Shapers. We're all fantastic people. You will come across many people who have award this or go to Davos that or any other things, and that will always happen. But also keep looking at yourself. Like, what's my own personal growth journey? So I think that was important to say.
It's like a very inspiring story, Nupur. And thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. Current shapers and future shapers will definitely get guidance from today's session. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. I liked it. Thank you.
So